Hey guys, Kevincage back with another daily cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen. Let's get right into the information today, one take and uncut. So, to kick things off, we're going to be talking about XRP volatility risk again. This is shared by Status, STEDAS. You can check him out on Twitter as well. Posts all kinds of great infographics on his website, linked right off his Twitter as well, to learn about not only the Ripple ecosystem and their partnerships, but as well as the entire XRP ecosystem and all that encompasses. So right here, we know Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, has talked about the volatility risk because that's a concern of many people that do not know how cryptocurrency function. They think, oh, well, cryptocurrency fluctuates so much in price, it wouldn't make sense for banks to use the technology to send it in terms of settlements. And he basically just explains why mathematically that's incorrect. So first off, in a single day, there's 86,400 seconds. And in this example, he uses 180,000 seconds. And that basically runs just over 2 days for a transaction. And that's extremely conservative. And again, he wants to be conservative. We know that the traditional rails can take, anywhere from 2 to 6 days if you really want to stretch it. And that is just... And keep in mind, with the 6% error rates altogether, and XRP's never had a single, failure in terms of transaction ever. That's very significant, guys. Now, let's just read this quote. So there's more volatility risk using Swift over 180,000 seconds than there is using XRP over 3 seconds. Now, as we know, Swift is literally the legacy rail, the correspondent banking network that is sending these settlements through, corridors, and the hard-to-reach corridors can be very, very expensive as well. This isn't even talking about the costs associated with payments going missing or lost and then having human people actually having to intervene in the capital costs that come with it, and then even just talking about the pre-funded accounts all around the world. Those are one thing, but talking about the actual time that it takes is a whole nother thing as well. And keep in mind, businesses adopt technology that improve problems, reducing friction, and just making their systems more efficient to grow profit. That is the only goal. All right, so they should not be loyal to anything. They should be loyal to the thing that works. So basically what he's arguing here is he says, all right, well, holding a volatile asset, as you say, like XRP over a short period of time versus holding a less volatile asset like fiat, US dollar, euro over a longer period of time. Mathematically, these traditional legacy rails used by Swift, they're still significantly more volatile today when you're using this 2-day time frame because they cannot settle any faster. They're going through so many intermediaries. There's multiple points of failure. With XRP, there's no central point of failure. It's distributed ledger technology. Boom. So there's no question in terms of volatility. Mathematically, they run the numbers, and you guys can look into this further. I've covered this in several videos as well. And as XRP increases in value, as it, has more volume on the whole network and all of these exchanges and partner exchanges for on-demand liquidity, it will become more liquid and more stable at a higher price, which is obviously a win-win for everybody, including us as speculative investors. Keep that in mind. And another thing I want to address, guys, is I can assure you nothing that I say on YouTube, nothing that anyone says on YouTube, or anything that you say or read on Twitter will persuade and change the price for XRP. Any legitimate company or accredited investor, they have their eyes on the prize. They understand the fundamentals. They will be growing the XRP ecosystem. Period. Like superior technology that improves that improves efficiency, solves real problems, will survive and thrive, and the winner will take all. Is that XRP? I'm betting it will be. All right. Now, this is shared by Stephen Dieppe here. So this gentleman, his name is Hugo Cuevas, or Cuevas, however you want to say it. And basically, this is over at More Financial Group, I believe. And I just wanted to double check here and kind of just look into it again. Whoops, accept and close the cookies. So if you guys want to look into this as well. And basically just another gentleman in the financial sector. And he's just talking about, obviously, settlements are being more and more done in cryptocurrency and digital assets today by banks, by remittance companies, by financial institutions, such as Bitcoin. And then, of course, he talks about, of course, XRP and XLM because they have their own protocols associated with this. But more and more companies are using cryptocurrency to settle payments. 2019 has been an interesting year for sure. Banks and governments are slowly understanding the, efficiencies and the improvements that they offer and this technology offers, but there's still tons of regulatory hurdles. So don't get me wrong, it's going to be slow and steady, but I think 2020 will be a year for true institutional adoption on a new level. And whenever this wave breaks, whether it's end of year or a few more months away or even throughout the year, once the wave goes, there's no holding it back. The dam will break and they'll flow. The institutional money will come in. And I know we've heard this since 2017, but guys, I mean, just look at the regulation, look at the laws coming into place now. Banks even in Europe are able to custody digital assets. The second that one bank or FI is able to hold XRP without having to worry about paying taxes for each of those transactions, it's game over. So obviously we've already talked about that. And again, guys, he just goes in this video. I remember he's like talking about the difficulty in today using wire transfers, settling money in real time in hard to reach corridors. It's just not practical. You cannot. And again, these companies are expanding their reach globally, and using cryptocurrency is a much simple, a no-brainer rollout in terms of efficiency, but they need to get the clarity on the regulatory hurdles and the regulatory frameworks as well. And soon, once it becomes, obviously it's efficient to use cryptocurrency, but once it becomes legitimate, then it's game over. Legitimacy and efficiency, those are the keys that we need for that perfect combination, and that is working with regulations. And some of you might not like to hear it, but those are the facts. All right, right here, Michael Val 5 links, just briefly going over this. So R3, we know they're connected obviously to SBI Holdings. We know Yoshitaka Gatao is a board member on Ripple. We know all of the connections with R3 using, obviously they can use Swift GPI, and then they also named XRP as the only digital asset, but they will be naming others to settle. This is huge, especially with Corda. We get it. And we have, obviously with more than 70 organizations running trials. This has been going on for years. We have 70 organizations, over 25 countries, over 340 participants from organizations in the private and public sector, as we can see some of them here. Financial services, IT, telecom, logistics. We got real estate, hospitality, automotive industry. There's going to be so much. So we're keeping an eye on this. Even, Marco Polo, of course. We have Voltron. We have a lot of groups to really keep an eye on. So even if it doesn't, directly say XRP, I keep an eye on the developments for R3 because they do have a vested interest and own a lot of XRP. So keep an eye on that. Keep an open mind. Nothing's guaranteed with R3 usage and trade finance, but that is where the trillions of dollars lie, and they're talking about true settlement. So keep an eye on that in regards to also payments obligations. All right, and then lastly, I just want to show this graphic. This is again by Stedas, STEDAS, just showing the use cases for the XRP ecosystem that are already being used today. Some on a micro level, some on a little more of a macro level, but you have to realize what is being built. I mean, Ripple said that they're not going to be working on expanding the ecosystem until they can guarantee success in the remittance space. And obviously, we already are aware. We know it's a bridge currency. We see here sourcing global liquidity. We understand business-to-business payments, a store of value, which is, a silly concept for me, a medium of exchange. But again, store of value actually, as a deflationary asset compared to the US dollar in a time like this with such inflation, instead of just buying debt notes, it makes sense. I'm going to be holding a portion of XRP for life because when you're selling it, you were selling it for fiat. And in my case, I'd be selling it for the United States dollar. And in a time like this, with such economic, not prosperity, I would say uncertainty. I want to hedge my bet in different directions, whether that is a bunch of different precious metals or cryptocurrencies. We have smart contracts like FlashFX, those acquisitions. We have micropayments and micro lending. We have securities and settlements, of course, even the huge investments that Ripple has put into securitize. And then don't even get me started with even the custody side with, PolySign. There's so much going on. So guys, keep your eye on the prize. I want to motivate people. I want to, keep them, obviously focused on the big picture. But at the end of the day, it's not my job to do that. I'm going to share this information. It is up to you to do your own research and decide for yourselves. And regardless of what price does short term, I will be covering it. I will be honest. If price tanks and there's bad news, I'll share the bad news. But right now, there's been nothing but bullish news, guys. So I'm not going to change my tune by any means. I'm continuing to accumulate, and that is not financial advice. If you have enough, don't be greedy. Just hold it for a few years. Forget about it. Get off YouTube. Get off Twitter. Don't even look into it for a while. Let the space mature. Do what's right for your own health. But guys, I am just so excited. I've been, looking at this day in, day out for years now, and I could not be more excited for what is to come. So again, guys, I appreciate all the support. Be sure to like this video if you liked what you saw and you learned something. And again, I will see you in the next one.